Tight Riders.
Hello riders and welcome to this Hold Tight review. My name's Dan.
My name's Charlotte.
And today we're checking out Blackpool Pleasure Beach's latest ride, Icon. Icon opened to the public on the 25th of May 2018 and it's billed as the UK's first double launch roller coaster.
Built by Mack Rides, Icon weaves around the back of the pleasure beach, interacting with 15 other rides along its course. But is it any good?
Good question, and one that I'm finding a lot harder to answer than I thought. I was going into it sort of expecting not to like it very much because I wasn't a massive fan of Blue Fire at Europa Park. And Helix, yes, it is a very good ride at Leesburg, but I didn't think it was quite what everyone said it was going to be. However, my opinion now of Icon is pretty good, and I actually quite want to get back and ride it again, which I didn't think I'd be saying.
When we arrived, personally I thought the theming for the ride was like really impressive compared to other rides at Blackpool, because the areas aren't heavily themed, or the rides as either. So we got on and we thought, okay, we'll go on to the back row, because normally on back row on launch coasters, that's where all the force is, and you know, and off we go. And I thought it was rather uncomfortable. It didn't jolt about and hurt my head, but it was rougher than I thought it was going to be. I thought it would have been a lot smoother. However, when we went, we thought we'd give it another try, so then we went on second row, so we were near the front, and that ride was so much better and changed both of our opinions, and we thought it was so much smoother. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It's a grower. It's definitely a fun ride. It's a repeatable ride. I get sort of motion sickness quite easily on coasters these days. So I only tend to do the major rides sort of once or twice in a day, so I don't get myself sick. But with this, we went on it 4 times in a day and I still felt absolutely fine. So for me, that's a winner. For a lot of other people, it probably isn't, because a lot of people prefer the more intense stuff. I do like the intense stuff, but it's not as re-rideable as Icon is, which counts in its favour for me. The launches though, well, you might as well not really call them launches. It's more sort of like, imagine you were sat on the London Underground, I think. The first one, sort of, you can feel it warm up. It's almost like you've got a group of men stood behind the train pushing you down the launch. But to be fair, the ride's not really about the launch, it's more about the layout, which is very much a layout of 2 halves. So yeah, some people prefer the second, some prefer the first. What do you think?
I prefer the first, because I think the first made a lot more sense. So it was going through all the rides in different areas, and then the second launch I felt was just kind of sticking within itself and just going weaving around, and which I thought was a little bit pointless. So what about you?
Yeah, the second half has probably got more airtime and stuff in it, but it, like you say, it doesn't seem to make much sense. To me, the second half looks like they've watched a point of view of like an RMC coaster and thought, oh, we'll have a go at that. So you've got your sort of little airtime hills with random banking on them, which it was fun, but it did make me laugh because it just seemed very RMC-ish. The first half, like you say, just seems to make more sense. It's a bit more low to the ground as well, so you get a better sense of speed. There is a lot of airtime. The trains are pretty comfy, I thought. You're just having a lap bar, which is a great thing for the UK, because we don't really have any just lap bar inverting coasters in this country, unless you're counting the likes of G-Force at Drayton Manor, but that's not a very good example of comfort at all.
No, definitely not.
Overall though, how do you think this fits into your sort of top list of coasters? Is it in there?
I'm going to honestly say no. I have maybe a top 4, and I would probably say Icon just falls down, so maybe 5. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's definitely a good coaster, and one that I keep thinking, oh, I'd like to have another go on that. But it's not got that sort of wow factor. You don't get off it and think, wow, that was amazing. Like, for example, I did with Taron. So yeah, in terms of UK coasters, yeah, it's definitely in the top 10, pretty high up. Not sure exactly where, but then when you sort of widen the search to Europe and such, I don't think it holds up. It's not as good as Taron. I'll probably rank in terms of the multi-launch coasters. I'll go Taron, Icon, Helix, and then Bluefire. You probably wouldn't agree with that, but that's just the way I see it.
Okay, to summarise our Hold Tight review, I thought Icon personally was a really nice coaster. I thought it was very enjoyable, and like Dan said, it's very re-rideable. Like I say, we went on it 4 times while we were there, and if it wasn't for all the rides that we went on in the day, we probably would have went on it more times. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Great ride, worth visiting for, although it will make everything else at Pleasure Beach seem even rougher, which is something they're going to have to deal with. So hopefully we'll see an RMC retrack of the Grand National, the worst roller coaster in the UK. Bye!
Thanks for listening!